Hello you guys, and welcome to the channel. If you're new, don't be.
I'm Whitney. Keep it cute or get the boot.
Your girl, as whack as she is in all her glory, was in the New York Times. But anyways, you guys, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and go into the end of this particular video where I read the remaining pages of SOULLESS. Now, if you guys aren't aware, we have been reading SOULLESS, okay, for some months now. We took it up after I read Solar Coaster, which is R.Kelly's autobiography. And I had people rolling, but I was like, my husband had to tell me Whitney was auto. He didn't write it, okay? So I was like, right, because hey, but anyways, I digress. So after reading that, we took a vote, and that's what I tend to do. I let you guys know the books before I'm going to read them to get you guys' opinion about it, because this is your channel, you guys. I'm just the face of it, okay? But I am here for the people. This is your safe place. And so, yeah, I take your suggestions, you know what I'm saying? As long as you keep it cute. Hey, Flawless, good evening. So we're at the tail end of SOULLESS, okay? And I do have some ideas of the next books that I'm going to read. But if you have an idea or whatever, let me know, okay? I don't mind reading, okay? I actually talked to Geronda. She's actually okay with me reading her books and just reading them in their entirety. So I'm all for it. You know, I'm here if you guys are up to it, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and get into this good old read, okay? But before, PSA.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high.
Nope, this ain't it. You are tuned into a realistic, unprofessional perspective reading of this book. So that means stumbles, fumbles, and sometimes an occasional mispronunciation of words. So if you are looking for the audible of this book, go buy it yourself, or feel free to mute me and read on your own. Otherwise, sit back and be grateful. You are tuned into a live reading with Whitney G. All right, you guys, we are back. Now, before I get into it, okay, yeah, we are going to read and insert, okay? So you guys go grab, okay, hold on, let me come back on this screen. Okay, go grab your Kool-Aids, okay? I promise you this is all it is, okay? This mixture is actually, and check it out, it is the fruit punch with lemonade, okay? Now, my secret is I put 2.5 cups of sugar. You're going to thank me for later, okay? It's right there before you get sugar diabetes, okay? You're not just, you know, running to go get a shot, but you're almost there, okay? Y'all know we don't sip tea over here, nor do we drink wine. We indulge in Kool-Aid because we down to earth. All right, you guys. So let me go ahead and get into this insert in regards to SOULLESS, and we are going to be wrapping up those that are coming in that were interested in getting the update when it comes to the appeal. Run it back, okay? Run it back, and then you can come back here and hear the book, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get into it, okay? All right. In November 2000, Chicago journalist and music critic Jim received, oh, sorry, y'all. I don't know what's going on with my screen. Oh, it's too big. Okay, let's do that. Okay, there we go. Sorry, y'all. My screen started tripping. Y'all can't see it, but anyways. In November 2000, Chicago journalist and music critic Jim received an anonymous fax that alleged R.Kelly had a problem with young girls. Weeks later, Jim broke the shocking story, publishing allegations that the R&B superstar and local hero had groomed girls, sexually abused them, and paid them off. Derogas, Jim, my bad, y'all. Jim thought his work would have an impact. Instead, Kelly's career flourished. No one seemed to care. Not the music industry, not the culture at large, not the parents of numerous other young girls. But for more than 18 years, Jim stayed on the story. He was the one who was given the disturbing videotape that led to Kelly's 2008 child pornography trial, the one whose window was shot out, and the one whom women trusted to tell their stories of a meeting with the superstar at a classroom, a mall, a concert, or a McDonald's that forever warped the course of their lives. Soulless. The Case Against R.Kelly is Jim's masterpiece, a work of tenacious journalism and powerful cultural criticism. It tells the story of Kelly's career, Jim's investigations, and the world in which the two crossed paths, and brings the story up to the moment when things finally seem to have changed. Decades in the making. This is an outrageous, darkly riveting account of the life and actions of R. Kelly and their horrible impact on dozens of girls by the only person to tell it. Soulless. The Case Against R. Kelly. Let's go.
Y'all killing me with this. I can't help.
Robert.
I can't help. Dos delincuentes. You're killing me, man. This ain't not about music. I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids, and I can't do it. Y'all just don't want to believe the truth. You don't want to believe it.
At this point, we briefly pause the interview to give Kelly a moment.
Man, y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me. Y'all trying to kill me. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with this. Y'all killing me with killing me, man. Trying to kill me. Killing me, man. Trying to kill me. Y'all wanna believe it? Trying to kill me. Killing me, man. Trying to kill me. I hope this camera keep going. Stupid R.Kelly. Fight for my life. Stupid R.Kelly. Do it. Stupid R.Kelly. Fight for my life. Stupid R.Kelly. Do it.
Felt like old times, y'all. We almost there. Don't worry. We're going to be doing a lot later when we get in the month of May. But let's go ahead and get this book over with, shall we? All right. We are finishing this book up, you guys. Okay, let me close up all these other windows. Okay. Close up all these other windows. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. We are on the final chapter, which is 15, called The Cult, okay? And we're on page 277, and there are a total of 304 pages. However, it does end sooner than the 304. So let's go ahead and get into these remainder pages, okay? So I hope you guys are ready. This last chapter has been very informative, and I don't think it's going to be any different as we read on, okay? So let's go. 15 months after my BuzzFeed News article about Kelly's cult, and 3 months before Lifetime aired Surviving R. Kelly, sorry, got choked up. Farrakhan spoke about the biggest R&B star of a generation. I had a 4-hour talk with R. Kelly, he began. The crowd booed and grumbled. Many wore street clothes and striking contrast to the sea of suits and white habits seen in photos of Malcolm X addressing packed rallies during the NOI's heyday. They had been in the ministry's thrall until he mentioned Kelly. His followers clearly weren't fans. No, Farrakhan said with a smile, shushing the voices of dissent. No. He came to our home with 6 of his friends. And I told him, I have had a message in my heart for you for over 20 years. And I'm so glad for the opportunity to share it with you. It was managed by a friend of mine. What's that brother's name? Farrakhan turned to the men sitting behind him on stage. Bear Hankerson, one said. Then the minister faced the crowd again. Bear Hankerson, he said. And Barry told me I'm going to get rid of him. The crowd gasped. Like me. They heard get rid of as kill. I said, Bear, be patient. Farrakhan continued in the rolling cadence. That boy is deeply spiritual. A man can't write no songs like that and not have God all up in him. Yeah, I know you lie. Yeah. But he's got to be cleansed. I do agree with that. Okay, Farrakhan, I see where you're going. I agree with that. I believe that, seriously, y'all, and forgive me, but if you don't, I don't care. I'm going to give my commentary along this. I believe that R.Kelly went down the wrong path. If you ask me, I believe he went down the wrong path. And I believe he does have a God-given talent. I really do. But I believe that spirit was placing him when he went through all that sexual abuse. Hey, Aisha. Hey, DJ Cadillac. Hey, good evening, y'all. I believe that, with his sexual trauma, okay, that's what happened to him. But I do believe that he's spiritual. I do. He do need to be clean. Lucifer was the king of music, so I disrespectfully disagree with Farrakhan. Yes, he was the prince of the airways. Come on now. But again, where Lucifer messed up at, he wanted to be God. He wanted his position. See, when you think yourself higher than you ought to, that's when the problem comes in, okay? So let's continue. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? The ministry's voice grew louder with every word, and now the crowd cheered him on. All of you in here have done something wrong, but you are not evil people. Somebody's got to reach into you and bring out the God that's in you and clear you of your evil. With that, Farrakhan got a standing ovation and moved on to other subjects. Here's my thing. And I am going to be going in and out this commentary because it's on like 8 pages. We're going to be out here real soon. That's true what Farrakhan said, but let me tell you trifling Christians, okay? You fake ones, all right? You're going to stop playing with God, and you're going to put some respect on my Father's name. You can't keep, this ain't double dutch in this piece. You can't keep going back and forth. The word of God says that you got to pick what you're going to do, because otherwise God will spew you out of his mouth. And know that he will turn your, I'm about to say something else, behind over to a reprobated mind. What's the reprobated mind? Meaning that you got your mind made up, that you know you're doing wrong, but you're in it and you're going to go full-fledged. So he will turn you over to that and be like, okay? So don't get it misconstrued. Yeah, we all fall short. That's what the word is. But it's what you do when you get up from that. Do you fall and get back on the bike and go and do the same thing that you were doing that caused you to fall off of it? Or do you redirect yourself and try something different? Now, if you end up in the same place there afterwards, then that's understandable, but you try to do something different. This nigga got countless of years where he continues to do the same stuff over and over and over. So much so, what I tell y'all when we was reading Roller Coaster, he's a freak of habit. A freak of habit, so much so that he played basketball, as we heard in the transcripts, every day at the same time. He went to the studio every day at the same time. He had sexual relationships with them the same way. Nothing was spontaneous. Miss me with that Farrakhan, and he twisted his darn self. Anyways, time for no Farrakhan. Yeah. Oh, Aaron, I'm drinking Kool-Aid. It's just Kool-Aid. My husband trying to make it look fancy, baby. It's Kool-Aid. With that, Farrakhan got a standing ovation and moved on to other subjects. Was any of the talk of violence serious, or was it all just talk? The Starstruck, the book, Kelly's former lover and confidant Kim Delaney called a thinly fictionalized account of their friendship. The R&B star Ben says of the aunt of a girl trying to destroy him with a videotape, "I need her done." You know what I mean? A member of Kelly's crew made the mentioning comment that if Hankerson tried to testify at the trial, he probably wouldn't have made it to Chicago. In one of the few transcripts of a closed hearing that Judge Vincent Gaughan unsealed, prosecutors said they were considering pressing charges based on a sworn statement by Lisa Van Allen that Darrell McDavid said he should have murked her. Now, Farrakhan claimed Hankerson said of Kelly, I'm going to get rid of him." Was any of that true? I wasn't eager to find out, but nobody ever got murked. As far as I know. I asked Hankerson in early 2019 about Farrakhan's comments, and he gave me a rare response via text. "The minister prays for the worst of the worst. That's why he's the minister. However, he has guided me well. ASA, that's ASA, as in Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you." The number of times Hankerson has spoken publicly since he split from Kelly in 2000 can be counted on one hand. He and his son Jomo continue to oversee the record legacy of Aaliyah, whose large following remains intensely loyal, though her status is now nowhere near that of many departed musical greats. You won't find most of her music online until now. Stephen Witt wrote in a long and well-reported article for Complex in late 2016, Aaliyah's most popular, most important works, the albums, One in a Million and Hey Baby, and Aaliyah, and late career singles like Are You That Somebody, aren't available for streaming or sale on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, or any other online music service until now. Hey, Karen. Oh, okay. I was about to say, hey, Karen. She's saying hi. Okay. Ironically, the only record that is available is the one produced by Kelly. Age ain't nothing but a number. The one the Hankersons don't control. Only her uncle, mysterious music industry executive Barry Hankerson, knows why. Hankerson did not talk to Whit. But in mid-2018, he did speak briefly to Geoff Eggers of the Washington Post. Hankerson said he was legally prohibited from discussing Kelly. Ooh. Interesting, Eggers wrote. When asked if he had regrets, Hankerson grew emotional. Let me tell you something. I'm a Muslim, he said. I do my prayers every day, and I lost my niece in a plane crash. And please excuse my language, but I don't really give a fuck about none of them people you're talking about. None of Aaliyah's other family members ever talked about her to the media, and most remained silent even after surviving R.Kelly prompted renewed interest in their daughter's relationship with the singer. Her mother, Diane Holton, did curtly deny that Aaliyah ever had sex with Kelly. Child, see these are the parents. Okay, these are the parents that irritate me. Okay, Rashonda Landfair's parents trifling behind, and Aaliyah's. She got pregnant, she got married, but nothing was going on. I don't like that. Even although y'all, hold on, let me do this real quick. Let me hit y'all with this good old PSA.
But today I saw a ladybug, and it's so crazy because Whitney used to always call me Ladybug, and we used to have thousands of ladybugs in Virginia come summertime. We used to open up all the windows, and thousands of ladybugs would just come into the house. They would fly into the house, and it would just be the most beautiful thing ever. And I saw a ladybug today, and it made me think of Whitney. That's so crazy. It really made me think of Whitney.
I'm that Whitney, okay? All right. I don't know too many Whitney YouTubers that cover the R.Kelly trial that's in association with Azriel, because y'all tried me. Okay, I'm the Whitney that she's talking about, okay? But I wanted to put that out there because some of y'all be bothered when I talk about anything when it comes to the Clarys, okay? So that's a PSA, all right? Tread lightly, okay? But anyways, I want to say this because y'all get on the Clarys, Savages and Onslaught, but you got parents like this. And I say that because even the Clarys sat on with Gail and said they daughter lied to them. Okay, she lied. They didn't defend and go along with the go along like these parents that clearly did. The Landfairs who took money month after month, cars and gifts and trips, lying on the stand and stuff like that. Child, I just these parents right here, I have no respect for. None, yo. But anyways, I digress. Let's continue. But the most illuminating comment by anyone close to Kelly's most successful protege came from Damon Dash, her boyfriend, at the time of the plane crash. Broken up about her death and angry at his friend Jay-Z, Dash left the label he co-founded Rockefeller Records soon after Aaliyah's accident. He stopped talking to Jay-Z because he thought the rapper should have publicly condemned Kelly instead of heading out with him on the Best of Both Worlds tour. In early 2019, Dash recalled what Aaliyah shared about her relationship with Kelly. In an interview with Hip Hop Motivation, I remember Aaliyah trying to talk about it and she couldn't. She wouldn't just leave it at. That dude was a bad man. And I didn't really want to know what he did to the extent that I might feel the need to deal with it just because that's what a man does. But it was just so much hurt for her to revisit it. It was like I wouldn't even want to revisit it without a professional. Whatever got done is terrible. During the trial and in the press, Kelly, his lawyers, and his handlers said they believed Hankerson and Sparkle were behind the video making its way to me. The Sun-Times and thus the police, I understood why many in the Black community, troubled by someone's action and wanting to stop him, might turn to a journalist before an officer of the law. Growing up in the hood, the number one rule was don't snitch. Kelly himself says in Solar Coaster. While I still don't know if the Hankerson Sparkle theory about the 2002 case is true, I did learn more about that videotape, and that was thanks to Twitter too. Now, after my friend and public radio colleague Peter Segal tweeted a flattering compliment about my work, a Chicago attorney named Ian Alexander DM'd me. He and Peter's brother Roger went to law school together. They're close friends, and their kids attend Hebrew school together in the suburbs. When Demetrius Smith was on the outs with Kelly in the fall of 1996, around the time he heard his old friend speak in the voice of the demon, Smith felt sorry for one of the high school girls Kelly had sexual contact with, Tiffany Hawkins. Smith brought Tiffany to the law firm of Susan E. Logans and Associates. It advertised a lot. Logans did a lot of radio and television interviews, and she seemed to get results. After passing the bar, Ian Alexander took his first job as a lawyer at Logan's firm. He was 25 and he loved music. He told me he always read my reviews and listened to sound opinions. When Smith brought Tiffany to the office, Logan's didn't want the case. Who's R.Kelly? It's not like he's Frank Sinatra, she said. Alexander insisted the singer was a big deal. Logan's took the case, and the young music-loving lawyer did all the work on the first legal claim accusing Kelly of having sex with underage girls. Now, Logan's never even met Tiffany, she admitted, and she didn't think highly of Alexander. I thought he was a smuck, she told me. The ill will was mutual. I was definitely a smuck by virtue of the fact that I worked for her and let her sell out these poor girls, Alexander said. That's something that I'll have to live with. Alexander is haunted by yielding to pressure from Logan's to settle the case as soon as Kelly's lawyers, Gerald Margolis and John M. Tuhy, made their first offer of $250,000 in exchange for an NDA. The day after Tiffany's hair-raising 7.5-hour deposition, Abdul Palash and I had never thought to call any other attorney working for Logan. So Alexander's name appeared on many of the 235 pages in Tiffany's legal file. We kicked ourselves for missing that step now, though Alexander says he couldn't have talked to us anyway because of attorney-client confidentiality. He was still reluctant to address Tiffany's case in 2019, but he did say one thing about his former client that shocked me. Tiffany initially wanted to press criminal charges. On her behalf, Alexander contacted the office of the Illinois State's attorney at the time, Jack O'Malley, but they chose not to pursue the case. Tiffany only filed her civil claim after law enforcement declined to act. Wow, that's interesting, you guys. That is very interesting because they were painting her out to be after money, right? Like all the girls are, right? After this fan of money that this Negro has. And the only reason why she went that route because the other route wasn't, paving the way, wasn't helping. But that's interesting. More than 2 decades of predatory behavior might have been stopped there in 1996. Ethical concerns didn't apply to the other surprising story Alexander told me because he never represented anyone connected with it. When I started reporting in late 2000, graphic Kelly videotapes were already floating around on the streets. They began showing up for sale as bootlegs in mid 2001. I remember because I saw one. Sure did. The first tapes and DVDs featured dancer Montana, Montina Woods, and the girl Abdom and I never identified. The crew Kelly played basketball with at the time included someone my sources alternately described as a thug, a guy from the street, and this dude originally from Philly. In his book and in interviews with me, Smith said the man's name was what? General. Okay. I failed to learn anything else about him, much less contact him. Smith said General sold the tape with Rashonda from Kelly's gym bag. One night, when the singer left it on the sidelines during a game at Hoops, it passed from the hands of a thief through the hands of street chiefs, gang leaders. Kim Delaney wrote in Starstruck, when copies of the tape with Rashonda began to circulate among Kelly's hangers-on in the late 2001. Some were titillated, others were disgusted. Tapes of Kelly with legal age women were one thing. The tape of him violating a 14-year-old was something else. Sparkle told me she first heard about the tape on Friday, December 14, 2001, when 2 friends told her they seen it. On Tuesday, December 18th, a man visited her claiming to have been sent by a lawyer named Buddy Myers. He showed her the tape, which disgusted and infuriated her. She told me and said in her sworn testimony at the trial that she didn't know the man, and he left with the tape. Though he gave her a business card, the card was from the firm of Myers, Alexander and Koshner. That's Alexander as in Ian Alexander. He had quit Susan E. Logan's and Associates and started his own practice with 2 new partners, one of the Buddy Myers. Now, on Monday or Tuesday, December 17th or 18th, 2 men visited Alexander at his new firm's offices. They occupied part of a floor at 640 North LaSalle Drive, a block from the Rock and Roll McDonald's. The 2 men knew Alexander had represented Tiffany Hawkins. He understood how Kelly operated. He did right by Tiffany, and they wanted to talk to him. Alexander had met Demetrius Smith, and he knew the names of several members of Kelly's crew because he had worked on Tiffany's lawsuit for nearly 2 years. Now, he didn't recognize the men who came to his office, and he said he didn't know and could not remember their names. The men had a videotape they wanted to show him. The office didn't have a VCR, so Alexander and the two men went down the hall to Act One Studios, a now defunct performing arts school that rented space on the same floor. The tape the men showed Alexander included footage of Kelly with two different partners. The first, the men told him, was a girl named Rashonda. The second, they said, was gospel singer Dillion Richards. What? Okay, anyway, sorry. Who married New York Yankees outfielder Gary Sheffield. Wow. Alexander wanted nothing to do with the video of Richards and Kelly. I told the guys who brought it that I would not be a part of part of what seemed like a scheme to extort, blackmail Kelly regarding a consensual sexual relationship. Alexander wrote via email one of many such exchanges and interviews. I said if they did anything with that, they'd probably go to jail. That's the last time I ever thought about the second part of the tape. When we first spoke, Alexander didn't know the rest of the story about the tape of Kelly and Richards, but I suggested he look it up. Greg Mosley, the poor man's Jesse Jackson, later used a copy of that video in an attempt to grab $20,000 from Sheffield. Convicted of extortion, Mosley spent 2 years in prison. Alexander found the stories about Mosley, Richards, Sheffield, and extortion online. He also found Mosley's photos on the web. Mosley looked familiar. Here is what I think, Alexander wrote. Derek Mosley and his partner in crime brought that tape to me. I honestly have no idea who the other guy was. Mosley would not talk to me for this book. As it would most people of conscience, the tape of Kelly and Rashonda sickened Alexander. He told the two men who visited him that he would be willing to help the teenager if she wanted to file a lawsuit or press criminal charges against Kelly. They wanted Alexander to hold on to the tape, but he refused to keep child pornography in his office. They left with it, but said they would return with Rashonda and her family. Alexander scheduled the meeting. On Wednesday, December 19, 2001, Sparkle called the state's attorney office and talked to Robert Hellingoder. She called DCFS, Child Protective Services, and talked to a woman named Kim. Then she called me. She mentioned the name Buddy Myers, the one on the business card left by the man who visited her in all 3 calls. Myers had been vague when we spoke on December 20th. I have no idea why they threw my name around. I've heard some shuttlebutt, but that's all I'm at liberty to say. Soon after, Sparkle made her cold call to the state's attorney's office. Investigators visited Myers, Alexander, and Koshner. Alexander told them he didn't have a tape. They'd have to get a warrant if they wanted to search for a tape. No judge would grant a warrant to search a law office. And anyway, he was not representing anyone in connection to a tape yet. Alexander had the meeting on his calendar, and he believed Rashonda and one or more of her family members were driving to his office. He thinks he ordered a car service to bring them from Oak Park when Kelly's attorney, Ed Ginson, interceded. Wow, intercepted. Hey, Quana. Intercepted them. Either Ginson knew about the tape because the two men told Kelly they had it, or Sparkle called Kelly and gave him holy hell after she saw the tape of him and her niece. Sparkle would not talk to me again for this book. I don't know what Kelly and Ginson did next. Kelly certainly hasn't spoken to me, and Ginson, who is retired and alien, did not respond to my calls, emails, or letters. While they were running around with the tape, the two men may also have talked to some of the bootleggers who provided the knockoff VHS tapes, DVDs, and CDs for sale on street corners. The first Kelly sex videos with Montina Woods and the girl's abdomen I never identified had done good business. The new one would grab even more attention. I had talked to a vendor at the Maxwell Street Market in 1998 for a story about bootlegging, and I asked where he got his counterfeit goods. He looked at me as if I had two heads. It was as simple as getting up a few machines and hitting play on one and record on the others. Bigger operators either sold wholesale to vendors or left their wares on consignment. You get a better deal on consignment, he advised. He had heard music critics got a lot of advanced CDs, but you had to trust the guy who peddled your product to deliver your cut. Ginson and Alexander were friendly. Chicago is a very big, small town, and the legal scene is even smaller. Ginson called to apologize for hijacking the meeting Alexander thought he'd scheduled with Rashonda and her family. It was just business, no hard feelings. This was about 6 weeks before the tape arrived in my mailbox. Did that only happen because someone's original plan got derailed? Had one or more members of the Landfair family intended to sue, criminal charges, or both? Ultimately, Rashonda and her parents, Greg and Valerie, remained loyal to Kelly and never spoke to anyone, media, or investigators. Alexander never saw the two men with the tape again. And he never spoke to the Landfairs or Sparkle. He followed every word about the case against R.Kelly in the papers through the 6-year wait for the trial. And once the proceedings started, his name didn't come up once. And he was glad it didn't. In the early spring of 2002, bootlegged copies of the tape appeared for sale on the streets, not only in Chicago, but in other big cities. As officials said at the press conference announcing Kelly's indictment, it was child porn, they noted. And they advised anyone who had a copy to destroy it. Well, I've long wondered about the path of the copy I got. What's important is that it was out there at all. The videotape was a dirty bomb, a radioactive weapon ready to be used against Kelly by someone out for a big payday, sickened by his treatment of young girls, or set on revenge for the damage he caused. Hankerson's niece, Aaliyah, had been hurt by Kelly. What really pushed Barry over the edge about really wanting to destroy Rob was that Aaliyah died and the guilt he felt. One of Kelly's handlers told me in early 2019, Rashonda was having sex with Kelly, and the teenager's parents weren't stopping it. Sparkle is still furious. I have a vendetta against him because of what he did to my niece, she told NBC's Dateline on January 18, 2019. Kelly's handlers claimed Sparkle and Hankerson were angry because their business deals with the star had soured. That may be true as well, but can anyone blamed them or the hundreds of loved ones of girls Kelly hurt for hating him for any number of reasons. Now, Sparkle told me several times during the 6 weeks between when she first saw the tape and when we watched it together in the Sun-Times video closet that she was frustrated that the state's attorney's office and DCFS weren't acting. Why couldn't they just go arrest Kelly already? And ask every time we spoke. No one seemed to be doing anything. Both Sparkle and Hankerson denied they personally dropped the tape in my mailbox. Hey, lady. Hey, lady A. Taylor. Hey, honey bunches. Yeah, it's okay. You're late. Come on in. This is about to wrap up here soon, you guys, and we're going to talk a little bit and then we're going to head out. Did either of them ask someone, a guy in a bow tie, a member of the NOI's Fruit of Islam, perhaps to drop a copy in my mailbox to speed things up? They never said. Given that the tape began to appear for sale on the streets shortly after the Sun-Times revealed its existence, it was only a matter of time before it made its way to the media, law enforcement, or both. The tape was out there, and the story had been out there long before the tape. I just got both first. While the tale of the tape is fascinating for what it says about the people around Kelly, opportunists, disgusted, out for retribution, all of that and more. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what was on the tape. Here was seemingly irrefutable evidence of Kelly hurting an underage girl, one of many for almost 3 decades. The defense did refute it. However, a jury of Singer's peers acquitted him. And so a pattern of predatory behavior that started in 1991 continued. R.Kelly has a lot to answer for. Hold on. Yeah, sorry, y'all had to see what we said. R.Kelly has a lot to answer for. As his old friend Demetrius Smith said, and maybe someday he will. I've certainly posed many questions via his lawyers, managers, publicists, crisis managers, and record company overseers dating back to November 2000. After my BuzzFeed News articles in the summer of 2017, Kelly suffered a new round of defections. From his latest inner circle, including his musical accomplice, DJ Phantom, and his lawyer, Linda Minch, who'd given the memorable quote about how Kelly just wanted everyone to put down the guns and embrace peace and love. Minch emailed that Kelly is a brilliant artist with unlimited talent, but I pressed her several times on what exactly she meant by that, but followed by an ellipse. But she told me the partners at her law firm advised her not to talk to me. Phantom had no problem speaking his mind about Kelly. He's a shitbag, he told me. 3 of the 6 members of Kelly's cult also left. Those are women I've never named publicly. Dominique stayed for a while longer, and Joy and Azriel are still there as of this writing. Well, actually, Azriel is at home. Yeah, Azriel is at home. And unfortunately, she, along with the Clarys, are mourning the loss of Angelo Clary's mother, who passed away just days ago. So yeah, and I think I reported it here. We were doing something here on the channel, and I let you guys know that he texted me and he lost his mother. So send your condolences, because he adored that woman. I know I got pictures and videos of him being in the hospital. Because I'm like, "What you doing?" He's like, "With mom." So he really, really, really adored his mom. So again, my condolences to the Clarys. Kelly's career began to flounder after the year of indie outreach in 2013. When he split with his longest serving manager, Darrell McDavid, I tried to talk to him in 2017 too. And he Facebook messaged me, "I'd appreciate if you just let me sit this one out." Okay? Thanks. You've pretty much destroyed him. By the spring of 2018, Kelly had a new manager, Henry James Mason, an unknown in the music business who just went by Mason. He had a flair for the dramatic and like so many around, Kelly occasionally talked like a movie gangster. In March of 2018, I sat in a hall at the Austin Convention Center during the South by Southwest Music Conference and Festival, listening to a keynote address by Lyre Cohen, co-founder of Def Jam Recordings, now global head of music at YouTube and Google. I was glad I set the ringer on my iPhone to silent because it vibrated with 5 calls in rapid succession. Whoever was trying to reach me clearly wasn't going to stop. So I stepped out to return the call. It was Mason. I hope you guys are doing okay. Let me see where we're at. I think we got about to get ready to wrap it up. Let me see how many more pages. Oh, dang, we got a few more pages. Lord, God have mercy. Oh, Lord, we might have to wrap this up next week, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I love y'all, but good Lord. Oh, baby, nah, we're not doing this tonight. I'm gonna have to finish this next week. I'm gonna keep reading the rest of this, but nah, baby, we ain't doing this. I thought we just had like 8 pages. It's like 16. Anyways, okay, hold on. Let's see, we are baby child. No. Okay. I love y'all, but child. Kelly's then manager wanted me to clear the air with his client. He said, and Robert would very much like to meet with me. I seriously doubted that. But I told Mason I'd be happy to sit with Kelly for an on the record interview, no holds bar, preferably on video. I called my editor at BuzzFeed, Marissa Carroll, saying I might need the biggest, briefest, beefiest camera crew she could provide. And I asked if I could expense a Kevlar vest, size 3X. There were 2 conditions, Mason said. He'd like to see copies of all the lawsuits I kept writing about. And he need a list of my questions. I told him the lawsuits are public record at Cook County Circuit Court. So good luck finding them in that black hole. But I agreed to email him a list of questions. And after Marissa edited them, and BuzzFeed media lawyer Matt Scoffer vetted them, I did. I kept the list relatively switching, limiting it to questions about Joy Savage, Azriel Clary, Dominique Gardner, Geronda Pace, and Rashonda Landfair. The other women who told me about the cult, the books by Demetrius Smith and Kim Doney, the settlements for the lawsuit. Sorry, let me turn my phone off because it's hotline bling. Okay. Found by Patrice Jones, the underage girl from the Rock and Roll McDonald's, Montina Woods, the legal age dancer on a videotape with Kelly, Tracy Sampson, the underage girl he met at the expo for Today's Black Women, and Tiffany Hawkins, the first underage girl who sued him after they met in Miss McLean's classroom. Finally, I asked, what really happened with Aaliyah? Mason never mentioned the interview with Kelly again. The manager and I did continue talking, and a month later, Mason made another offer, saying he'd like me to speak with Joy Savage. Ooh. Wow, wow, wow. Did we know that? Did we know that? Because I didn't. Wow. This is the last page, you guys. And we're going to finish next week. I thought we were going to be able to finish it this week, but next week, we got one more page. I mean, a few more pages. Once again, he asked me to provide my questions, and once again, I did. That interview didn't happen either. In January 2019, Mason surrendered to the Henry County Sheriff's Office in Georgia on an outstanding warrant from the summer of 2018 when Tim Savage charged that he threatened to kill him and hurt his family because they wouldn't stop trying to bring Joy home. Mason, y'all, we know I reported that he actually had to back up off of the family, and I think that was pretty much it. And yeah, he got dismissed or whatever. So we got updates with this. Mason posted $10,000 bail and called the felony charge of terroristic threats a miscarriage of justice. By then, he'd resigned as Kelly's manager and been replaced by Don Russell, another unknown in the music world. Russell claimed he'd been a friend of Kelly's for 30 years, but former members of his crew told me they'd never met or heard of him. In early 2019, Kelly hired a new Chicago-based defense attorney. Steve Greenberg has made a career out of representing what many consider the lowest of the low. Read the suburb of a profile by Lisa Bertaglianoli in Crane's Chicago Business. The greatest rush in the business is when you know someone is guilty and you win the case, he says. Acting as Kelly's spokesman, Greenberg vehemently denied all the accusations against his client and branded all the women accusing him as liars. Many final attempts to get Kelly to comment for this book were direct to him. Greenberg acknowledged receiving my messages, but he ignored them. Okay, we're going to stop on page 287, okay? I want to get in the chat and see what you guys are talking about, but we, again, are stopping on page 287, okay? And let me see how many pages we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we got 6 pages left, okay? So we have 6 pages left, and we are really going to be done with this book, okay? 6 pages left, all right? So what I think I'm going to do is quite possibly, I am probably going to do like a pre-recording of the final pages and just upload it because I'm ready to move on. I'm not gonna lie, I would keep going, but we're already 2 hours in this video, and I didn't want this to be that long for those people that are watching playback.
I'm Whitney. Keep it cute, but get the boot.